Okay, hi everybody. We are on. We are on. YouTube should be online. There we go. There we go. Yeah. Now we're live. Now we're looks like our postcard idea is going to happen. Rob Ebner came up with an idea the other day that everybody should, wherever they are in the world, from wherever they've seen me broadcast, from. So, wherever they're watching. Excuse me, my nose is itchy. Sorry, it's a live TV. Wow. Guy just drove a van over a curb there. It's kind of nasty. And so anyway, a couple of friends have already started to mail their postcards, so they should be getting here in about a week. And when they do, and I will get to read your messages to her. And she's got space on the wall. She actually has a couple of things up there, like calendars and stuff she likes to put on the wall. So, oh, I didn't see this comment, by the way, Dave. The battery lasts on the gimbal, it says 12 to 14 hours. So I can afford to use it for a stand here like I'm doing now tonight. I got it here with my tripod. It seems to be a pretty good. Sometimes when I have the clamp, it's up here about like this high, but this seems to be a pretty good. The second device doesn't display the very bottom comment. I got to push it up. And once again, this DM group, I posted it in Chinese. I wrote it again this morning. Yes, it's very long. For one thing, this gimbal doesn't use counterweights. The whole arm slides, so you can get your phone balanced really nice. That's the secret of using a gimbal, is having your phone balanced this way, left and right, with the power off. That way it doesn't have to hold up the phone like a crane. When these gimbals first became popular in 2015, you saw a lot of people doing videos, and I did one showing people not to do that. But you see people videos where the mobile phone was hanging right in the gimbal, and they powered up and would go up like this, and we go ooh ah. They're using it as a crane, and that's not what it's meant for. So as long as you have your phone balanced, like right now, it's not really doing much of anything. And it shows that I've got, it shows I've got 100% power on the battery indicator, and it's not really doing much of anything. I'm not moving it around. It's not compensating for any motion. So this thing can last, can last all day. Okay, this is my Vietnam coffee. Oh, that's good. But the condensed milk is sweet, so I tell them never to add sugar to this already, because the condensed milk has sugar in it, and I don't like a lot of sugar. So, all right, so for those of you who don't know, Rob Ebner, one of my longtime viewers and biggest supporters from way back, came up with an idea the other day that he ran across me. I think it's an excellent idea, and that is for everybody to send Win-Win a postcard. And so if you have any inclination at all, please do so. Hey Henry, how you doing? Henry, you're now a moderator. Made you a moderator for my channel. Everybody's a moderator. We have such a troll-free environment here that I doubt you'll ever have to use it. But just in case. Just in case. But I don't think nobody will be moderated here. The whole time I've used YouTube Live, I think I moderated somebody once. How you doing, Henry? How's everything in Sweden? Don't thank me yet. Some people want moderation turned off so they can do whatever they want. Okay. Mr. Dew is not here. He doesn't come in until after. They're not quite as good as the other ones I get. They're a little bit, well, they're not quite as, I don't know how to describe it. That's what I think. Glad he could join us for a few minutes today. I went to the mall with my wife to go shopping, and she ended up staying there for 5 hours. Wow. That's why I went to the other store and checked out the gimbals, and they had a good deal on a new one that I was looking at, so I just bought it. Okay. Now, the only issue with the Vietnam coffee at this time of year is, as you can see, it's largely ice. And when it starts melting, it really does dilute the coffee. This is that thick soy sauce, Dave. All right, listen to this. Henry says he has, I'm not sure how to say that, calamar in the oven. He said it's cabbage wrapped beef. He says I make it with a brown cream sauce, potatoes, and what is that? Ligonberry jam? I don't know what that is. And he says minced beef. I don't know what that jam is. That's cool. See, this is what I don't like. The comments are going to go away, so I can't go back and look that up. So you'll have to in the late night group. You'll have to tell me what that is, Henry. It sounds really good. Yes, it does, Dave. Ligonberry. Yeah, I don't know what that is. So I'm going to look that up. I'm going to have to look it up. So for those of you who are on Twitter and haven't joined us on our late night DM group, please contact me. I'm the NH Bushman. It's THENH Bushman on Twitter, and that way we can add you to the group. You can join the discussion. You can post pictures and stuff and anything you want to talk about. We don't get political, and we there's no trolls, no bullying, and everybody's viewpoint is okay. So that's what we do, and I can post. What I think I'm going to do is I think I should make a PDF file that you can print and make a label with and put it on TaiwanLive.tv. I think I'm going to do that. If I have time to do that, I'll do that tomorrow. I got to do some blogging tomorrow anyway. So if I have time to write that address into a PDF file and post it on there, I think I can do that. It should take about 5 minutes. And that way, you don't have to be on Twitter. You don't have to message me or anything. You can just download it straight from the website. Now, as time goes forward, I think TaiwanLive.tv may morph more into a live streaming service, kind of like what we're doing here, rather than the on location stuff. But I'm just gonna have to figure this out now. Stacy asks, anyone owned a Sugar Cube speaker, Bluetooth? I've got a. It's not a. I don't know what a Sugar Cube is, but I've got a Bluetooth. Oh, I see. Yep, it's probably time to change the battery, if that's what's happening. Because, excuse me. Lithium-ion batteries are not supposed to develop memory. You're supposed to be able to charge them at any point in the discharge cycle that you want, bring it up to 100, and it's not supposed to make a memory. Henry says, I'll post that on Twitter. We got that recipe a long time ago when we forgot the Turks, way back when they made it with the wine leaves, but we sweetified it with cabbage. Oh, that's cool. That's interesting. I like that term, sweetified it. I got to remember that. Because, yeah, every country does that with food. We Taiwanify stuff here, Brand new. Okay, well, if it's brand new, I'll take it back. That's what I would do. I'd take it back, tell me got a bum battery. Batteries are not supposed to do that. Excuse me. By the way, you guys see the new case for my gimbal? It looks like a gun. This is the new gimbal case. Those lithium-ion batteries are not supposed to do that. I've got my Wi-Fi, my mobile Wi-Fi box that I've had for over a year now. Actually, gosh, almost 2 years. And I charge it at any point in time. Like, I'll use it for a couple hours and I'll charge it. I'll use it for an hour and I'll charge it. Always because I want it topped off. And it never has a memory. It lasts a long time. It's not supposed to do that. Now I'm going to keep this from melting. Just going to have to drink it. True. Yeah, if it's completely sealed, you're going to have to give them back the speaker. Fortunately, this I don't want to show you because I pop it out. If I pop this open and the battery comes out, we go off the air. But there's a removable battery in here that I can find another one. Huawei will sell me another one. So if for some reason, another reason I like this Wi-Fi box so much, and I haven't talked about this in a while, is you'll notice that there are 2 antenna ports on it. And I do have some antennas that will fit it. And you know something? That reminds me, for the longest time, I've been meaning to do some scientific tests. I'm a broadcast engineer. I know how to do RF tests on this, and I can use my mobile phone as a field meter with one of those Wi-Fi analysis programs. And so I can actually plug antennas into that and see how it affects the signal propagation and whether or not I can actually get more range out of it. There are places that I go that I try to show, like the insides of temples, and if I get deep inside the building, I lose my mobile connectivity. But if I walk in the door and I pop this like in the window, like when I go to T's place, and I gotta talk to you about T in a minute. When I go to T's place, I pop this in the window. That's so powerful it goes through the walls in all his rooms, but it's still connected to the mobile network. So now Henry says, I have a Bluetooth speaker in the kitchen. It's supposed to have 10 hours battery, but I have it connected all the time since it never leaves the kitchen. Yeah, there you go. So you don't know how long it actually lasts, because you don't really test it. Now, frequent watchers of this show have seen Mr. T. He spells his name T-H-E. It looks like the, but he spells it T-H-E. He is a Vietnam-born ethnic Chinese man who ended up going to the United States when he was about 7. He's got U.S. citizenship, speaks English very well, and reads and writes English, but speaks 5 languages. He speaks 3 types of Chinese, English, and Vietnamese. I met T, I'm going to say 6 years ago, roughly, and a lot of the customers here have a habit of trying to get the bosses or the boss lady to drink with them. A lot of times you'll see Win here, and her face is red. She's been drinking beer all afternoon because the customers have this habit of wanting to toast with the boss. And so he would drink between 10 and 20 bottles of Taiwan beer every day, and he would smoke about 2 packs of cigarettes. Well, the guy's blood pressure went through the roof. I saw him one day, and he told me that he had an outrageous blood pressure in the hundreds, and he had holes on his face where they had tried to drain blood from him to keep the pressure down. Now Henry says, I have a USB hub splitter connected to the speaker, so I also can charge up to 5 devices from it at one place. I bought a 5-port charger. It's not a USB hub because it doesn't pass USB signals. It is strictly a charger. It's an 8-amp charger, and it's pretty darn good. It didn't cost that much. It cost about maybe $26 US, and I keep that at my house on a power strip. I turn it off when I'm not using it because I don't want it to, I don't like to drain power when I'm not doing anything. So Yep, about 2 packs a day because all the customers smoke. See, one of the friendly things about Taiwanese that they do is when they first meet, they always hand each other cigarettes. You know, and you see this at weddings. They'll have somebody will take like 10 cartons of cigarettes and dump the cigarettes out in a big bowl, and they hand them out like party favors at the end of a wedding. It's ridiculous. So he quit smoking. He quit drinking. His blood pressure returned to normal. He started breathing better. Everything seemed okay until he got some blood clots. He had 2 operations over the last year. And what they do is they go in through the leg with a catheter and they shoot this thing up into the brain, and like a balloon, and they get rid of these blood clots. And so they've been it's cultured. So the first 2 operations were for the the larger clots. And then he said that the doctors here had to consult with South Korea and Japanese doctors to get more data and information on how they should handle the really tiny capillary blood clots that he's got. Yeah, smell and taste returns. Yep. Also when you quit, that's right, yep. But it's friendly in Asia. Almost every man in Asia smokes. All these Vietnam guys, they all smoke except for 1 or 2. It's insane. Almost all the Filipinos smoke. And I ask them, what do they get out of it? They just waste their money. Smoking is a nasty, evil habit that only takes. It doesn't give back anything. You guys already know this, so I know I'm preaching to the choir. But anyway, T had an operation last Wednesday, and I've not been able to get a hold of him. His place isn't open yet. I saw during the day that the door was up a little bit. When the door's up halfway, it means they're not really open. That somebody just went inside to do something. So I don't know. I've called his phone several times. It's shut off. It's turned off. So I do not know what's going on with him. And I'm worried about him because the first 2 operations, even though they're incredible and very invasive, they weren't that dangerous. This one was dangerous because of the tiny, tiny capillaries and the delicacy of the operation. So smoking should be a crime. Well, it is a crime. It's a moral crime. It's just not, according to the laws of man, a crime. If cigarettes were to come out today, you wonder, would they be banned? Would anybody allow that? And you go, oh, no, there's no way. But they vape. Vaping came out. That's perfectly allowable. These companies, as long as they're making a profit, everything's okay. I remember years ago reading or seeing television shows about development. He asked, can't you go visit him in the hospital? I don't know where he is. He didn't tell me. He just told me he's in Taoyuan, but he didn't tell me where. He kept saying, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. And you guys, if you've seen T before, that's the kind of guy he is. He doesn't want people to worry about him. So I told him I would be calm. Actually, the last time he had an operation, I sent him several text messages, and I didn't hear anything back from him. And then one day he was at the restaurant. I walked over to him. I said, you didn't answer my text messages. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry. I was like, well, I thought you were dead, so what could I do? Punishable crime, well. Punishable by God, yep. Henry says if cigarettes were invented today, they would be illegal, I think. But they invented vaping. Do you see my point? And doctors aren't even sure that vaping is safe. People always say, well, vaping is safe because it's not smoke, it's vape. I think you're just replacing one bad thing with another. That's what I think. So I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. Immoral but not illegal. Yeah, a lot of things are like that. That's right. Totally agree. It's smoking cigarettes is satanic. Seems like to me. So I don't know what's going on. And so tomorrow's Friday, so it'll be a week and 2 days. And tomorrow I'm going to be looking out my window, and if I see that the door is up in his place, I'm going to run over there and try to talk to his girlfriend and see if drinking alcohol is not. Drinking alcohol is absolutely different. It is a food. And you don't inhale it. It's a food. And the book of Proverbs says that wine is a gift from God. Drunkenness, that's the crime. Drunkenness, not drinking. See, I drink, but I don't get drunk. Viewers of this show have never seen me drunk. You see me get tired. Oh man, sometimes I come on late at night here, and it's really tiring. But Wen, ni hao. Here she is. Here's Wen. Hey, sir. She's wearing black tonight. This is Wen. Ni hao. Never. She had never on her shirt, so. Yes, I am. So, Henry's asking, there's no registry you can call and see which place he's at, or hospitals. You don't give out that info. Because the other thing is, I don't really know the spelling of his Chinese name. I only know his family name. And it's Tran, which is Chen in Chinese. Chen or Chan and Tran. And I know his English name, and that's it. So Henry said, vaping gives you popcorn lung. The same disease chefs get is standing too close to the deep fryer without proper ventilation. Oh, that makes total sense. That makes total sense. Because, yeah. Well, I was reading about it because I wanted to see what the scientists had to say about vaping. And at the time that I read this, awesome. Then you know about the rapture this fall? Nope. Bible didn't say there's going to be a rapture this fall. If there is a rapture, it's called Project Bluebeam. But anyway, the day and the hour, no one knows. Not even the sun. That's what it says. You can't make these predictions. Some guy made a prediction that the second coming of Christ was coming in October. Remember that? It was about 3 years ago. And it came and went. And everybody said, it's not going to happen. So popcorn lung. Okay, so evidently now it's been sufficient time for people to have had enough experience with vaping that they can start to see what's going on. Because I know it's like people were saying that it doesn't hurt you. When I was a kid, showing my age, everybody tried to get me to smoke pot, and their number one thing that everybody said was, it's all natural. And I tell them, well, you can build a kale that smoke either. So, vaping is so new, he said, give it 10 years and we'll see what side effects it has. Yes. Anyway, the thing is, everybody said it doesn't hurt you. It doesn't hurt you at all. And then a study came out a little while after that it said it shrinks the brain cell. Stay only for those in the dark. It says those in the light know when the rapture will happen. Well, all you got to do. See, that's the amazing thing. All you got to do is wait, and you'll see. So, there you go. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. Yep, it's a good book. Yep. Paul's letter to the Thessalonian congregation. This is really good. I'm down to the last little bit of it. I got to make some more. I've got the... I'm almost finished with my mixer, which means I'm done. I'm almost done with this. My... spice mix that I have is in a separate bottle, and so I'm going to add probably, I don't know if I have time tomorrow, but the next day I got some time, I'm going to add some rum back to it. Yep. September 21st, 2017. Okay. Hey Matthew, how you doing? See your fist bump. How you doing? September 21st. Okay. We'll see what happens. My prediction is nothing's going to happen. That's my prediction. So we'll see. Gosh, sorry, I have condensation off my cup, and I gotta wipe this up. It's all over the place. Oh. Hey, anyhow. All right. Yeah, it's so hot. It's so humid here, you know. Matthew, I'm doing fine, doing really good, thank you. I feel good. I took a nap today, and my little kid's got her assessment tomorrow, and so there you go. Yeah, I'm familiar with Revelation 12. Kind of the conclusion of the system of things. Now, Matthew, how's things with you? Because I don't think I saw you today. Tests and so forth. I got another gimbal today, and I'm using it today as a stand, just holding it today as a stand. And so that way I can, if something happens, I want to pick it up and move it, I can just pick it up and move it, so. Yes. Oh, Henry, I missed one of your comments. I'm sorry. It says it's rather new. He's talking about vaping. So I got to read the comments because they evaporate. He's talking about vaping. It's rather new, but yes, the symptoms are the same as the chefs get. Now, the question is, because I'm not familiar with that popcorn lung that you're talking about. You mentioned popcorn lung. Is that curable? I mean, is that like a life-threatening issue, or does it clear up if you get out of the environment or something? Henry says, I saw the night market replay. Your arms were drenched. The heat is rough now, huh? Cooler now than it was earlier today and last night. At the night market one on Tuesday was really, really hot. Now, you can see the reflection here in the glass. I've got a fan overhead. And the fan is blowing stuff down here, and it's blowing air down here, and so it's helping a lot. As soon as I got here, I turned it on, it's on high. So Matthew says, I'm good, just got back from an awesome camping trip. Oh, fantastic, yeah, your family likes to go camping. We love to go camping too. And the last time I went camping, it rained so bad that we didn't actually deploy our tent. We stayed in one of the rooms that the campsite had. And so we got another camping trip planned, but gosh, I forget when it is. I think it might be in August. My wife is looking at some trips because we're supposed to go to Dubai for the broadcast meeting, and that has been postponed. When broadcast gets their technical issues straightened out, then they're going to re-extend their invitation to me to their business meeting. But in the meantime, we're looking at going to some other places, and my wife is looking at Guam today. I don't know why, but she's thinking about going to Guam. I'd rather go to Yap or Palau. But anywhere in that Federated States of Micronesia area is pretty cool. So, what kind of camping do you guys do? Do you do really rough camping? With just like in New Hampshire, we have these campsites that all they are is a fire ring. So you don't build a fire outside the ring area. They don't want you to make the ground sterile. You know what I mean? Because that's how you always, get your tent tested. Get your tent, shaken out. That's what happens. I went camping in New Hampshire, 2001. A bunch of friends and I bought a new tent. And okay, Henry. And the thunderstorm didn't wake me up. What woke me up was the water encroaching on my face as the tent filled with water. That was just terrible. I want to show you this in just a second. Matthew says woods, so they go woods camping. That's great. So no organized campsite. I love that. Now Henry says bronchitis obliterans equals popcorn lung. It said meaning obstruction are the smallest airways due to inflammation. Inflammation is the cause of cancer. We now know that. We also know that if you can cool the fires of inflammation and you can get hyperbaric oxygenation, then you can kill cancer. Now, guy's going away. There are these, I can't show you now because he's leaving. There are these electric bicycles that they have. They have pedals on them, but nobody uses the pedals. Matthew says, most of the time it's just what we bring. No running water, no electricity, no pooper. Yeah, that's what we used to do. That's what we used to do. Only they would just have a smoke ring, a fire ring, and we would dig a latrine and then bury it. That's what we would do. Yeah, of course, no electricity is great. Last time we went camping, we saw like a black bear near our camp. It was nice because it shows how natural it was. But so getting back to these electric bikes, these people are riding these electric bikes because they have no license requirements. So the guys have no license requirements. And it's nighttime, and this guy's trying to save his battery, so he just pulled out of here with no lights. No brake lights, no tail light, no headlight. He just didn't turn them on. And so now you got these people driving around at night at scooter speeds in a completely silent vehicle with no lights on it. They've got no license. They got no helmet on, and 90% of the time, they don't have the financial resources to take responsibility if they get in an accident. Because most of the people that are riding these electric bikes are migrant workers, and they don't have the money. Matthew says no Wi-Fi. That's right. That's right. No Wi-Fi, and probably very little connectivity, with I haven't been back in the States in a long time. But when I was there, a lot of the mobile internet was spotty, very spotty, especially where we went up to the mountains, the White Mountains in New Hampshire. It's probably better now. But back in the old days, when I was in Boston and was a broadcast engineer, one of my gigs was to measure AM radio stations before and after a local, they call them cellular towers in the United States, but mobile phone sites. They would before they'd put a tower up in the proximity of a directional AM radio station, they would hire me to go do a study and collect the measurement data for the radio station, and then I would give it to the consultant, and the consultant would compare the before and after to make sure that the tower didn't have an adverse effect on their directionality, because you're not allowed to interfere with a radio station like that. If you put up a tower next to an AM radio station that's directional, you can change the directional pattern in the same channel, but in a distant area. You could actually beam interference towards them. Excuse me, which is particularly problematic at night. So I did hundreds of these studies. They were putting up, this is in the 80s and 90s, they were putting up these towers just right and left. It was fantastic. So I made a pretty good living doing these studies and using GPS. I've been a GPS user since 1994. I had my first handheld GPS in 1994. And boy, that thing costs a lot of money. And it's funny because nowadays, a mobile phone has a better GPS than the one I bought in 94, and paid big money for. But so they were rapidly trying to increase the number of people, the number of sites, so people could use mobile internet back then. So, and Matthew says we were pretty remote. People say Bigfoot lives in the area where we camped. Hey, let's talk about that in a second. Stacy said it's amazing you can broadcast on your phone without an AM tower now. Yes, because of internet. I remember I had my first website in '96. And like January '96, very early '96, and we realized, because I had a bulletin board, we realized that with the World Wide Web now, that changed everything. And actually, radio stations now are using the internet to carry the signal from the studio to the transmitter. But yeah, this is amazing. When I had my national talk show on the Talk America Radio Network in '95 and '94, I'd say, if memory serves, the average listenership that I had per episode of my show was about 10 million. But the potential now for the internet is virtually unlimited, because unless you live in a country where YouTube is blocked, for example, like China, you can watch it, you can look at it, and you can do pay-per-view shows now. There are pay-per-view service providers. I can't think of the Klein, I think it is Cleeng, I think is what Caspar told me about. You can do pay-per-view now on YouTube, and if you've got a good advertising network, if you've got a good network of followers, you literally can make millions of dollars if you know what you're doing. So it's pretty amazing. Yes, it is, because the AM radio stations, unless they're clear channel, they don't really go much further than the town you live in. That's the whole point of them, And FM is a totally different bag. These days, from what I understand, I've been back in the States for a while, but a friend of mine and we talk frequently, who's a very, very prominent and well-known broadcast engineer in New England. He tells me that AM radio now is basically brokered to foreign language, and that FM has become talk radio, and that all the music and that type of programming is going to satellite. So can do that easier on FM radio or TV. Yeah, but unless you get syndicated, see, syndication is the key. Unless you get syndicated, then you're stuck in one station. We had an incident at Talk America. I was also the vice president of engineering of the Talk America Radio Network, and I was responsible for keeping the network on the air. I built their new studios in Cummings Park in Woburn, and I got to tell you, there was a talk show host named Dick Syed. You guys may know him. He was prominent in Boston. He used to do a dating show. And we were on the Talk America Radio Network, and there was a problem with the Boston station. Now, the Talk America Radio Network was based out of Boston, but the network was all over the United States. I mean, you would broadcast from the Boston studio, but you might be on 25, 50, 100 stations, depending on which stations picked up your show, all across the United States. And we had a problem with the Boston station, the flagship station. It was 1510. And it was off the air one Sunday. I remember it was off the air. There was something happened in the transmitter. The thing blew up or something. I don't remember exactly what the problem was, but we couldn't get it fixed when Dick Syed's show was on the air, and he acted like it was the weirdest thing I ever saw. He got really upset, and he, like, if memory serves, he quit the network. I don't know why. He kept acting like. I guess, his mother couldn't hear him because she was in Boston. But, I said, Dick, you're on 50 other stations around the United States. This is a network. I mean, yeah, I understand if you're doing a show in Boston and you go up the air in Boston, you're talking into a dead microphone. But that wasn't the case. I don't get it. Some people just don't understand the mentality, I guess. But And Dickie was a good guy. I liked him. I liked his show. Before I ever was involved with Talk America, I had actually been a listener of his for a long time. So the key is syndication, though. Syndication, like TV 38 WSBK in Boston got picked up as one of those super stations on many major cable television networks across the United States. That was pretty cool. So people used to see my friend Dana Hersey, who was their announcer. Dana was really cool. They called him the voice. Dana Hersey. This is Dana Hersey. That was great. TV 38's movie law. He's great. Guys, this is good to reminisce. I haven't talked about this stuff in a long time. Anyway, It's all old history. Now, the last comment I got is from Stacy, and I'm checking to make sure that there isn't a comment sneaking in underneath. Yeah, it's been a long time. Anyway. The resolution on this is just incredible. I'm really pleased with how YouTube looks. So, all right, Stacy, do you know what these you were saying these names earlier? Do you know what these words mean here? The Pobol and the Banh Mi. We talked about this before, and some of these words here in Chinese mean the same thing as these in Vietnamese. But I just want to make sure that you know what it is.
Oh, I know that guy.
I know that guy. ICRT, yeah, ICRT. I can't really tell. I call them. I can't really tell radio because I can't really tell what your format is. Yeah, ICRT was actually the Armed Forces Radio Network on Taiwan, and then when President Nixon switched recognition to mainland China, then and the U.S. military left, and they sold it. I'm not involved with Taiwan radio at all. Yeah, I'm not. I don't have any doubt that if if I wanted to get a job with ICRT or something like that, then I could. I could probably, if they had an opening for something, I could probably get it with my background. But I actually did write to them one time and asked them. They weren't too keen on the idea, but I asked them, do they sell time? And they're trying to get into what do you want to do with it and all this stuff, and I didn't want to tell them. But somebody had. Well, you listen to their, to their program, and it's all over the map. I mean, the music is all. It's like a hodgepodge, so I can't really tell what their format is. And I don't really listen to them, but. Yeah, see, I don't really want a job. That's the thing. I really don't want to work, and I don't have to work, so I don't really want to go back to doing that. But all right, once again, talking about ICRT, what I talked with them about was somebody had suggested that I do a local talk show in Taiwan and broadcast, like this on live streaming, and I thought that would be an interesting thing because I did do something like that, and most of the Asian radio actually is. I hear some FM stations and they're pretty hot. They're just talking in Chinese, but they got their format down. They know who their audience is. It's just that Mando pop sting. Yep, American radio is organized by genre. Yeah, well, it is here too. It is here. Like in the next town, they've got a really nice classical radio station. And when I'm in the car, and my kid loves classical music, so when I'm in the car, sometimes I'll play that. So I was asking ICRT, do you guys, sell blocks of time if I wanted to buy an hour or 2 hours of showtime? And I got the impression that if my wallet is big enough, they would do it. But I have to convince them of the viability of it. Which is money or not, because it's your problem, When you own like for example on Talk America, it was $5,000. This is in the 90s. It was $5,000 a week would get you a 1 hour time slot 5 days a week. So it's basically $1,000 per hour. Now that hour belonged to you except for certain parts of the broadcast clock that were network, which means the network is going to take at 11 minutes to 13 minutes after the hour, they would play national spots. That's people who paid big money to be on the network. But like the 22 to 24 slot was yours. You could sell local ads, and throughout several times, he's just a customer. He's cool. Emailed the guy once. Oh, I'm sorry. You're saying who's the guy? You emailed. I'm sorry. I missed a comment. See, Sirius XM has hundreds of channels, but that's satellite radio. Yes, it is. It's satellite radio. That's right. It's all satellite radio. Stacy says, I emailed the guy once. Who's that guy? You mean from ICRT? I don't know. I have no idea. The only guy that I knew from ICRT by name, I don't know the guy, I'm just saying I heard his name, was Richie. So basically, oh, Tim Burge, okay. Yeah, I don't know who that is. So basically, if you had like an hour, okay, if you had an hour of time that you bought from a radio station, you would have probably 7 or 8 minutes of ad time that you could sell, and you could pocket the money. And that's how it works. That's how you make your money. So if you sell a couple of ads, you know, so you run an ad, you know, for $500, you sell, you know, 10 ads, you can see that you've got a pretty big pile of cash. Now remember, there was a preacher who was on Talk America. Let me see, his name was Earl Jackson. And Earl, at that time in 1994, Earl was not Richie Rich, Richie Walker. At that time, these girls talk so loud, they're ridiculous. Earl was advertising for an assistant, and the salary was $100,000 a year for the assistant. This was in 1994. Okay, so if you know what you're doing, and you've got good content, there's a guy named Stan May. Within 3 seconds, the first call would be in. And so these days, you don't even have to be in the studio. Back in the old days, we would use ISDN or switched 56 lines. We would. Oh man, hang on a second. Hang on a second. I must have had a mosquito on my leg because I just reached down and got a bunch of blood on my hand. Sorry about that. This is live TV, so you can't stop that stuff from happening. We would use switched 56 or ISDN to send encoded audio to the, to the studio from wherever you were. So I could do a radio program anywhere in the world from my studio, in my house upstairs. Taiwanese women talk so loud they don't. Taiwanese women talk loud. Apply to everybody. Those women that were walking in and out are not Taiwanese, they're Vietnamese. And when you hear them talking to Vietnam on the phone, you swear that they're yelling all the way there across the water. They are screaming into the phones. I know what you mean. Japanese people are very soft-spoken. And Taiwanese ladies are soft-spoken, yeah. Hey Ken, how you doing? How you doing? Nice to see you. No, Stacy, those ladies that were talking real loud, no, they're not. They're not Taiwanese. Win-Win is pretty soft spoken, I mean. How you doing, Ken? So yeah, frequent viewers of the show know that sometimes I'm in mid-sentence and I just gotta go. Because they're walking by and it's like they're yelling at each other. Kenron, how's everything? San Antonio, how you doing? Find any boots? If you were in the studio, you would use either the internet or probably, I mean, these days you would use the internet, but you would probably want like a dedicated high-speed line. The faster your pipeline, you do have to have a really, really fast pipeline. But that, okay, Ken, good to see you, man. Ken says doing good. Yeah, I've been out of the game a long time. I don't know the tools that they have nowadays. The old days, you'd use a field phone, which would use a phone line and send, would connect with digital packets. But yeah, that's basically what you do. I mean, if I was going to be at home, I've got a little broadcasting studio in my house, and very, very simple, that I use to broadcast to YouTube. I can use OBS, and I have a stereo USB interface. I can play music and stuff in stereo, and voice in stereo with effects and stuff. and it just connects directly to the internet through the computer. That's how you would do it. You'd have an audio interface like the USB interface that I have connected to the computer, and you just connect to a server, and that's what you do. So if I wanted to do, for example, a show on ICRT, I could do it from my house, and we would get the IFB back on. It would come back through the phone line. We used to use it like that on the phone line, but it would come back on the internet, so I can hear cues from the studio. You know, the engineer always says, 10 seconds we're going to break. So then you know, okay, got to go 9, 8, 7 in your head. Now, Matthew, if you're still there, Matthew, I'm sorry. I wanted to talk about Bigfoot for a minute because I know that. Software would you use? Yeah. OBS won't work for what? I mean, OBS works for YouTube. Like I said, I've been out of the game for a long time, so I don't really know what's available. But you just need an audio codec. And these days, there's probably some hardware encoder, like a 1-inch rack space hardware encoder that you put your audio signal into, and it goes to the internet, and you tell it where to go. You tell it, what IP to send to. Yeah, OBS works all the time. I've used OBS. If you look at, well, maybe I didn't make them public, but anyway, I have OBS broadcast on. Broadcast too, but yeah. No, not for managing music playlists. No, most radio stations use, gosh, I forget the name of it. But anyway, yeah, there's a complete music playlist. In fact, these days, most of the overnight shifts on radio stations aren't manned. The jocks come in the morning and they do all their voiceovers and all their bumpers and stuff in a studio and load them into the machine, and then the machine plays them at the appropriate time. Like for the record, that's Eric Carmen's, All By Myself from 1975. Thanks for listening, and that kind of stuff. And what they do is they play the record live, and then the machine cuts in the voiceover and stuff. And so you think the jocks are in the studio, but they're not. OBS is for video encoding, but it also encodes audio, doesn't it? It encodes audio too. So it's the exact same principle. The exact same principle. It's just encoding. But unfortunately, yep, you're absolutely right. It's for video. You're absolutely right. And unfortunately, I don't know because I don't mess with it anymore. I don't do that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I've been out of the game a long time. When I left Boston and moved to Taiwan, there were a couple of radio stations that were just at that point cutting over to the new systems. Grady and I had installed a long time ago, and I honestly don't remember. But I'm sure you could. I'm sure you could just do a search on radio broadcasting software. There's probably half a dozen of them now. But that was cool. Grady showed me the concept and demonstrated how it worked, and did a couple of voiceovers and things, and they just reside in the machine. They're just files that it plays back. All the songs are just files. So that's what they do. They get a new record in the in the mail from a record company, if they still do it that way. Maybe they just download it. But anyway, in the old days, they would get a CD. They just record it into the machine. And so it just becomes a file. So I don't know. It's a really good question, Stacy. It's a really good question. I don't know because I've been out of the game for a long time. I just know the principles of operation. So if I need to do it, I can. Now, when I build my new studio, obviously I'm going to have to get a crash course in some of this because we're going to be interfacing with studios in Boston and other parts of the world to do recordings, back and forth. Because there are some musicians in the United States and in Europe that I want to perform. If you guys wonder how, Stacy says, I wonder how news networks manage their content? Yeah. It's a good question. It's heavy software, for sure. What if there's fake news management? Down to the last little bit of this. When I'm done with this, we're done drinking for tonight. It's a beautiful night, though, actually. It's really not that hot. And maybe we can take a walk. But sorry about that, because I had told Matthew that I wanted to talk about Bigfoot a little bit, because Stacy, you probably don't know, but I had a Bigfoot encounter in the mid-'70s, and I've talked about it a few times with my listeners, my viewers. Want to do a live broadcast? That would be cool. That'd be real cool. Do you want to do it on? Do you want to do a live audio or video, and do you want to do it on the internet, or do you want to do it on like terrestrial radio? Hey, now. I'll joke with you. See you. It incorporates multiple feeds, yeah. Bigfoot is, well, unfortunately, at this point in history, it's a zoological creature. It's a creature that roams the woods of many countries around the world, and it's basically, in my opinion, it's a primate. It's a primate. No, I understand. You can't afford terrestrial, yeah, because it costs $1,000 a week. But yeah, multiple feeds. Yeah, internet is free. It's also harder to get people to listen to, because the thing is with talk radio, at least people are in their car and they're driving home. They're going to surf channels, and if they like your content, they're going to stick on it. But yeah, I know what you mean. It's really hard to. It takes a lot of advertising. You really gotta know what you're doing. But I'm not saying you don't. But I'm just saying it requires a lot of work to be successful on an internet show. Again, OBS is a pretty good multi-feed solution. The problem with OBS is that you can't monitor the audio a lot of times. See, I have bumpers. My viewers have all made bumpers for me, like Rob Ebner, says, "Hi, this is Rob Ebner, and you're watching Late Night with MJ Klein," like that. I've got several friends of mine, including Ken Rod and Steve from Florida, and some others that you may know, have done bumpers for me. And the funny thing is, I can see the VU meters going like this, but I can't hear the audio. Internet is saturated. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Everybody and their brother's on it. But if you're good and you have a way to differentiate yourself, and you've got a plan, a methodology, you can be successful if you know what you're doing. Yep. OBS is too minimal? Okay. Well, then I suggest you go with Wirecast. Wirecast is almost unlimited. It's kind of expensive. There's two versions of it. There's like a $500 and a $1,000 version of it. Wirecast will allow you to use it for free. It has a video and audio watermark. Well, you probably already know that, but I had an XSplit. XSplit's not that expensive. It's $20 for 3 months. I tried 3 months of it, and it didn't really do what I wanted it to do. What XSplit is really good for is for a webcam emulation. If you've got some kind of a web interface, and hadn't heard. Ken says he hasn't heard a Bigfoot story in a long time. Yeah. XSplit is really good if you've got, like, Broadcast, for example. Before they upgraded to the new version, Broadcast had a web platform that you could broadcast from with a webcam, and XSplit emulated the webcam and allowed you to bring different sources in like that. And so Stacy says, "I've tried Wirecast, but not user friendly." It's a monster. Yeah. I was using Wirecast, and I had to stop and go to YouTube and watch the tutorials. That's what I had to do because, you know, Wirecast is a monster. That's the thing. I mean, if you want sophisticated software, it's going to be, you know, steep learning curve to get with it. I know what you mean. So Stacy says I can do CNN lower third with XSplit. Bud, take care, man. Oh, sounds good. Sounds good. Okay, so you're doing ham radio lower third with XSplit, but not with Wirecast. I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure what that is. I'm sorry. I don't know what CNN lower third is, but well, if XSplit works for you, go for it. And the thing is, if you don't want to get the, if you don't want to, you know, buy the license, you can still use it with the, you know, the watermark, and it's limited to 5 scenes, I think. 4 scenes, I forget. It's limited, but. What I like about Wirecast is all the pre-configured outputs that it has, which is pretty nice. Bud, you take care, man. Well, thanks so much for joining OM. See you now. Wirecast does allow you to simulcast. You can simulcast to Periscope, you know, using the producer credentials, and YouTube and Twitch, for example, at the same time. So Twitch is a pretty good platform. It's just it's known for gamers, and some people like Terry White, who is Adobe's evangelist. Adobe. Oh, I see. Not using the free version. Okay. Some people use Twitch. Now, we'll tell you, our friends over at Broadcast, it's going to take a while, but our friends over at Broadcast are coming out with a pro version, and the pro version will broadcast to their website. And I'm looking forward to testing that. That's going to be something that I really I want to get my hands on when I get it done. Okay, Stacy says she tried that before. Okay, I understand. Anyway, a lot of people can't wait for Broadcast. It's going to be a couple more months, but they're going to have a pro version that's going to work on the desktop. It'll be, you know, I assume similar to OBS, multiple sources, you know, scene changes, things like that. So, yeah, Terry White's good. I don't know Jason Levine, but I've been following Terry White for quite a while. Actually, I learned about Periscope from Terry White. Okay, we're done drinking tonight. Thank you. Terry's a good guy. Never met him personally. Oh, that's nice. That's great. Yeah, what I like about those guys, I assume Jason Levine is you know, like Terry White, but Terry White's very helpful. I tweeted him. I asked him questions. He tweets me back. Great. That's fantastic. So Stacy says they helped me before with After Effects and Audition. Well, see, there you go. And these guys are good. I'm not a big fan of the CC program. I'm a user. I don't use Photoshop, and I don't like the CC program at all. And I wrote to them the other day and told them, they asked me, would I be this likely because of the CC program? That's a whole nother broadcast about the CC program, folks. Photoshop guy, okay. I've never used Photoshop ever. I use GIMP, but I don't like replace the sky. If I take a crappy picture that's so bad that I got to use Photoshop, I'll go back to the place and I'll take it again. InDesign, okay, that's cool. I know you can do a lot with Photoshop. It's just that I don't need to do that. I shoot RAW and I import to Lightroom, and Lightroom's okay. And it does HDR, and it does, you know, panorama merge and stuff. But I got Lightroom 6. CC apps are great until you want to leave the CC program. And there's no exit strategy that leaves you with a working version of the software. You got to keep that in mind. So you could be using CC for 5 years, and you got all these DNG files on your computer, and then you say, well, I want to retire now. I don't want to be paying, you know, the $10 or the $49 a month anymore. And so, yeah, so you quit, and all your software stops working, and you're dead. That's why I don't like the CC program. It ends up being more expensive than buying the standalone. And the other reason that I don't use Photoshop is because I've never been able to use it. I've never been able to download a non-CC standalone version, if you see what I'm saying. So I don't want to be forced to use CC just for Photoshop, but I don't need it, like I said. So anyway, if you look on, yeah, you have all the CC apps installed. Yeah, well, you're paying the $50 a month. Yep, and that's cool. But just be aware that the day you lose your job or your pension gets canceled or whatever, you know, there's a war, an insurrection in your country, and you can't afford to pay that anymore. It doesn't matter if you paid for it 5 times, 10 times over. Once you're done, you're off the program, your program starts, they stop working. So, I mean the pricing, yeah. Yeah. I actually was going to do a blog about this, but it made me so mad. You know, I was typing the outline for it, and I said, you know, I don't want to talk about this anymore. But basically, to buy Lightroom, it's $130. To upgrade it, it's $80. And so if you take, you know, the first year, it's $130. Okay, well that's a little more than $10 a month. Yes, it does. Thank you, Ken. Ken says, have a great night. Got to go. See you next time. Thank you, Ken. But the next year, when you upgrade, it's $80. But the CC program is $10 a month. So, and I know they say, but you get Photoshop. Yeah, well, I don't care. I don't want Photoshop. I don't use Photoshop. Never used it. I don't care about Photoshop. I care about Lightroom. And the problem is you can't get Lightroom by itself for like $5 a month. You have to take Photoshop and Lightroom together for $10 a month. So that's the deal. They don't need money for innovation because they don't innovate. You know what they did? I had Lightroom 5. I've been using Lightroom since Lightroom 4. I had Lightroom 5. I have a 27-inch AIO MSI computer with a touch screen. I was using Lightroom and opening a mask for brush, and I was using my finger on my screen, the most accurate way that you can do things. Forget the Wacom pen, you know, forget a mouse. I was using my finger to do editing, to do like the mask on brushes. Lightroom 6 broke that. And we on the Adobe forums, like tons of people blasted them for that. And one of their, spokespersons said, well, we didn't know what to do with the pathway for that. We didn't know if we should use touch for navigation. And so we wrote it back. We said, yeah, touch for navigation when you're in the library module. When you're in the develop module, it should be editing. Well, they're not going to do it because they released all these mobile apps. They want you actually. This is ridiculous. They want you to edit on a freaking iPad. Nobody edits on a screen this big. They edit on a screen this big. Okay? Screen this big. It's ridiculous. So they're never, and that's what I wrote to them when they asked me for my opinion. I said, a sufficient time has passed that we now know that you're never going to put touchscreen editing back in. So you know what I did? I downloaded the Capture One Pro demo. I opened a DNG file or a RAW file, which, by the way, let me stop there. You should never convert your files to DNG because Adobe has special capabilities with their software for DNG files that other software don't have. Capture One Pro cannot use a DNG file to the degree that Lightroom can. The dynamic range is different. So Adobe does some funky stuff. They tell you, oh, it's just a digital negative, it's archived, and you don't want it to, you don't want to be limited by that, right? You want to, have your archive go out into the future and have it supported. Yeah, crap. So Capture One Pro allows me to edit with my finger. So anyway. So, Stacy says, I don't use Lightroom, so I'm oblivious. Okay, I do object replacement. Well, yeah, if you do object replacement, yeah. But you know what you want to try? I got Affinity Photo, $39. Affinity Photo. There are YouTube videos of Affinity Photo showing guys actually erasing people. Incredible speed. A, Affinity Photo was designed basically for people who make money with photography. That out. It's incredible. So check that out. Affinity Photo. Affinity Photo is a really good kind of, for some things, Photoshop Lightroom replacement. The approach is different, but you're not a Lightroom user anyway, Stacy, so it won't bother you. But interesting. This is an interesting topic that we're talking about. It's been an hour and 14 minutes. Anyway, the thing, I mean, obviously, at some point in the future, because I want these other apps, I'm going to be doing more video editing, and I'm going to have a staff that does it. I'm going to have to go with the CC program. I don't like it. Unless you're using Linux. I was a Linux user for many years, and we had GIMP. Have you tried GIMP? GIMP does everything that Photoshop does except one, a viable Photoshop replacement, and I have it configured in Lightroom as my external editor. It's pretty good, but there's a steep learning curve on it. But fortunately, it's GNU, it's free software, and there are a lot of tutorials online, both web-based, text tutorials and video tutorials in YouTube. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. If you are a professional, you definitely have to know. You definitely have to know Photoshop. I'm not a professional. I'm a blogger. Now let me do this.